Hi, everybody. My name is Ellen Pensky, and on behalf of Packet Fusion, I want to welcome you today to our Lunch and Learn. It's part of our series of helping you see clearly in 2020. Today's Lunch and Learn is sponsored by Dialpad. They are known as one of the fastest growing companies in this work from anywhere era. That's what we've just been talking about here. And today's topic, a timely one, making remote work for your team today and in the future. And we've got a conversation with Dialpad executives and product experts. So really looking forward to that. So now I'd like to introduce our speakers. You've heard some of them bantering back and forth a little bit. First up is going to be Packet Fusion CEO, Matt Pingatore. Matt has about 30 years of experience in the telecom industry, and he's acknowledged as an industry leader with a wealth of knowledge and experience about getting to the cloud. We're also fortunate today to have several folks from the Dialpad team. We have Dialpad executives Dan O'Connell, who's Chief Revenue and Strategy Officer, and we have Mike Kane, who's the VP of Channel Sales. Dan's an industry veteran. He's held many leadership positions at Google and other businesses, including CEO and President at TalkIQ, and he's been at Dialpad for nearly 3 years. Mike is a driven sales and channel sales exec with a proven track record. He's been in his current position at Dialpad for nearly 3 years, and he's also held sales leadership positions at SoftChoice, PC Mall, and Ping Identity. And also joining us, we're lucky to have today, joining us on our conversation, is Jeff Riemer. And Jeff is the Director of Sales Engineering at Dialpad. Executives will lead a discussion on the state of the remote work and how it will look in the future. They're all also going to share examples of how Dialpad is helping customers through challenging times by deploying UCaaS and contact center solutions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt. He's going to say a few words, and then we'll hear from the Dialpad team. So go ahead,
Great.
Matt.
Thanks, Ellen. I appreciate that. Again, lots of familiar faces in the attendees. So thanks, guys. This is our continued effort to be thought leaders in the industry and make sure we can help you understand the cloud, what your options are, and help you get there. That said, we've been doing this, phone thing for 30 years. Right? Believe myself personally. At Packet Fusion, I've been doing it for 19 years, which is scary, right? We started off in telephony, and then it became UC, Unified Communications, which is still premise-based stuff. And then 2005, so 15 years ago, we got our first taste of cloud-based phone system. It was called hosted phones. And we did it with level 3, but that turned out to be a disaster. And then we kind of went back to our prem world. And then about 6-7 years ago, cloud started rearing its head, and Dialpad, who the CEO is a friend, we got acquainted again and did a couple deals, and I became acquainted with them and very, very excited about how they approached the marketplace. So we've seen their evolution come for the last 7-8 years, and we couldn't be more excited about what they do and how they do it and why they do it, their philosophy. Their user interface is one of their most paramount, mantras within their organization. And companies either grow through acquisition or organically, and some do it with a combination of both. And while Dialpad buys intellectual property out there from companies, they do an incredible job integrating it in. They never allow things to stay out on their own, because one of their biggest mantras always the user interface and the ease of use and how we integrate all these tools together. We've always, I feel like I'm on a kind of unofficial board of Dialpads. I have an ear of several influential people there, and I get to tell them my thoughts of what's going on. And I used to tell them, your contact center was weak. You got to go here. You got to get better on the contact center. And what do? Their contact center kicks butt, and they actually leapfrogged everybody by buying a company called TalkIQ that does some the transcription of real-time voice. We're going to show it to you later. But they integrated it into the code, into the platform. Really cool. Gave another little prod with what's going on with collaboration, which is now kind of leading the conversations. And they've purchased a company called High Five Networks. And so we're going to be seeing some really cool innovation on their collaboration coming. They already have some really cool collaboration, not quite as integrated as we all want it, but their High Five is going to be a really cool thing. So I love where you guys are going, your integration to the contacts, to Google, to 365, just the way you do your contact integration with LinkedIn. Nobody else is doing this. Everybody else has semblances of this, but for whatever reason, you guys take it to the next level and truly worry about to the core the usability of it, the feature richness, and what the customers want. Not just checkboxing things for RFPs and to checkbox stuff, but how does it actually work within the environment? So hopefully that's enough plugs for you guys. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and we're going to talk about what we're going to do today. It's going to be an open session. You're going to hear more from me. Jeff Riemer is going to chime in. Dan O'Connell's going to chime in, and we're going to have an open forum today, and it should be fun. I would like to say, please, I love the chats, the banter going on there. It's a lot of fun. If you have questions about this topic that we're going to talk about today, please put them in the Q&A. We've got 7 or 8 questions that we've seeded that's going to guide the conversation. But please interject, ask questions. I'm moderating that, and we'll get those answered for you. So Mike, good to have you aboard.
Matt, awesome to be here. And guys, I'll tell you, I've been with Dialpad for 3 years. I run our channel program. So I'm responsible for our partnerships who help take us out to market to then talk to good customers like yourselves. And I would say week 1 of Dialpad, Craig Walker is our CEO and founder. And he's like, okay, Kane, build out this channel program. I want you to go talk to this guy named Matt Pingatore and Packet Fusion, and he's going to give you some really good feedback. And that has been the case for 3 years. Packet Fusion is best in class. Obviously, you guys know that because you work with them. They are really a great organization. And Matt is known as a thought leader throughout the industry. So when I go to these different industry events, Matt always gets singled out as, hey, this is a person who has really good perspective on where this is going. So
I'm a good complainer is what it is. I'm a really good complainer. And maybe people listen, I don't know. Thank you for this is the reciprocal shameless plugs. So good job. Nice work.
No, really, it's a great partnership, and it's great to see it evolve over time. And yeah, with that, I'll hand it off to Dan O'Connell. So Dan, as you guys heard, he's the president and CEO of TalkIQ. Now he runs all of our strategy and revenue for the company. I report into Dan. He's been super supportive of our partnership program, and then he's going to walk us through Dialpad, our platform, and where we're going.
Yeah, so thanks, Mike, and thanks, Matt, for having us, and it's great to be here. And as I said, the shameless plugs will continue. And I'll take, I just wanted to take a couple minutes just to actually kind of level set in terms of who's Dialpad, what do we focus on. I'm sure there's plenty of people that know about us, and there might be some folks that are still learning about us. And I wanted to give a little bit of background of how do we approach the space, how do we think we're different, where are our investments going in the future. And then Jeff, if you go to the next slide, really our mission is all about how do we make business communications great anywhere. And I think to no surprise when we talk about anywhere, we're in these hybrid environments today in terms of people working from home or perhaps working in the office. And we need to make sure that we have a platform that provides just extreme flexibility for folks, that it works on desk phones, soft phones, mobile devices, and really make sure that you have enterprise grade quality and security anywhere you need to connect with people. If you go to the next slide, a little bit of context just about us. When I think about Dialpad and what got me excited about joining 2.5 years ago when they acquired the business that I was running, what stands out for us is we take, and Matt highlighted this a little bit, we take very much a consumer approach to how B2B software should be designed and the experience that people have with it. And that is something that shines out that we'll actually show off as we get into a demo and talk a little bit more about it. But
I mean, Dan, I'd love for you to talk. I mean, you were the acquired, right? Dialpad was the acquirer. And, I hear stories from Craig, and you guys just hit it off, same kind of philosophy, same kind of mantras. And, there were some similarities there. Maybe even go back to the TalkIQ days of what you guys were trying to do. I mean, I love that story.
Yeah, so we were, for context on TalkIQ, so we were a real-time speech recognition NLP startup. We had raised $22 million in funding. Our largest investor was Salesforce Ventures. And when I speech rec in NLP, it's essentially, we can go do a real-time transcription of a conversation, and then NLP is, once I have something in a text format, I can start to understand what is behind that text. So everything from sentiment analysis to quantifying how many questions does somebody ask? How many times is a competitor mentioned or a feature requested? And so I had known Craig, Craig's our CEO, Craig Walker, had actually sat next to one of our co-founders here at Dialpad 17 years ago at Google. And so we had actually hit it off in terms of what we were building as potentially being a differentiator for Dialpad. We were trying to figure out distribution at TalkIQ. As I said, we're an early stage startup, and a partnership with Dialpad actually turned into an acquisition offer that made a lot of sense in terms of we could actually go and build the phone system in the contact center of the future. One of our biggest differentiators is we call it voice intelligence, which is we natively bake in speech recognition and NLP into the phone line, and it works anywhere you want to make a call. And as we were thinking about, look, do we actually sell our business and our startup at the time? We had $20 million in the bank and 16 employees. We had plenty of runway to go and figure things out. It really came back to, the slide that's up there, which gets into the Dialpad story of, this is a business that is backed by some of the best and sharpest investors in Silicon Valley. Mark Andreessen sits on our board, who is the founder of Netscape, Rich Miner, who is the founder of Android. And we have a very different approach to how we think about building communication and collaboration software with a consumer experience when it comes to design, and then really thinking about what are the innovative technologies that we can bake into.
Jumping in there, and I hope you don't mind the back
No,
and
go
forth.
for it.
I mean, more of that, you guys are, the next generation technology, right? You guys are built on GCP, right? You have the next generation framework for the actual core of what you have, whereas multiple other people are on their third or fourth rendition of whatever product they're delivering, and they're finally getting to the hyperscalers, the AWSs, the GCPs, and that's where you guys natively started from. And then the TalkIQ, your framework for your core was the next generation stuff. So like, because you guys are the next generation type, communications platform, is super easy for you guys to integrate the two together. And like, you bought it, and within like 2 months, it was integrated in, and you had a full-fledged GA offering, which blew me away.
Yeah, which is one of those things. Like we view ourselves as cloud first. If you go look at the Magic Quadrant, there's pretty much only one other still private business that was built after the iPhone. And so we take a very different approach to how we architect and do all of the infrastructure. And so that gives us a leg up in terms of how we go to market, how we build things, the speed that we can go and build things. And that gives us, as I said, an advantage in terms of our ability to go drive innovation and differentiation in the market. And then Jeff, if you go to the next slide, just want to give a little bit of context, and Matt highlighted this of what are the products that we sell in the market. So we do a cloud phone system, contact center, which we were just briefly mentioning earlier on in the webinar. Contact center is a product for us that's 2 years in its life cycle, and is one of our fastest growing products that we have. We have innovated heavily around speech rec and NLP in terms of helping businesses understand what's happening within these conversations, and continue to drive innovation and a lot of investment on that product itself. And then, as you mentioned, the last product that we have is video meetings. We did an acquisition of High5, which expands our video capabilities. We'll soon be supporting in-room hardware, mobile video. And so I'm really, really excited about the innovation that we'll continue to drive on the video front. If you go to the next slide, Jeff. And then, just wanted to highlight on the last here of, why do we stand out? And really it comes down to product vision, which gets into innovation and differentiation, specifically around, as I said, speech rec and NLP. Ease of use, seamlessly integrated into the tech stack. You highlighted some of the integrations that we have, whether it's with LinkedIn, Salesforce, and then lastly, enterprise-grade quality and reliability, which when you get into making calls or video meetings, it's just paramount that people want to have a really, really great experience and hear you and clearly understand what's happening. And so making sure all of those things come together is extremely important at the forefront of what we think about. And then, I just wanted to put up one last slide. Something that we take a lot of pride in is how our users rate us and the experience that they have. And if you go look across the board at G2 ratings, Gartner peer reviews, we really stand out against our direct competitors in terms of, ease of use, the integrations, the ability to deploy. And again, it comes down to just the experience that people have with Dialpad. So I'm really, really excited about what the future holds. We've got some really, really fantastic announcements that will be coming out over the next couple of weeks that we'll be thrilled to share more of. Unfortunately,
You got to give us a little taste of what those are. Come on, just a little. What industry? Give me the market you're going to talk about, and I'll see if I can't guess it.
They are all market. I can't, honestly, I wish I could give you a teaser. If I give you any teaser or say anything more, we'll give it away and Craig will not be pleased with me.
Right. Well, you guys aren't public, it's not like we can go buy stock or anything. I mean, okay.
So we'll be dramatically increasing the size of our organization over the course of the next year, both domestically and also internationally. And then continue, as I said, you know, the High Five acquisition that we announced 10 days ago is the first of basically 3 big announcements that we'll have. The next one will hit in the next roughly 14 days. And then we'll have another one that I think will be truly a game changer a little bit later in fall. And unfortunately, can't share more than that. As I said, otherwise Craig will
I'm going to go dig in. I'm going to go find out what they are. Cool.
Great. And then, you know, last thing, I just mentioned this on the Magic Quadrant. You know, our positioning as a visionary, we have pride in where we show up in the Magic Quadrant in terms of being seen as a disruptor and an innovator in this space. And what's interesting on this is there's one of 2 still private companies, and we're the only business that was built after the iPhones. When we talk about, look, the ability to be to just architect our business differently, and the investment in GCP and the cloud and being cloud first, all of the, you know, this isn't BS. This is truly a differentiator for us and allows us to move and innovate faster and differently than our other competitors. So, and
aren't there also some interesting things that would preclude, you guys can't even make the leader quadrant just because
yes,
business, revenue, some international stuff. I mean, there's some obscure stuff that you didn't check the boxes, so you can't get there, which I think is crazy by Gartner, but I understand it.
Yeah, we get sensitive to, obviously, to play. Anytime you get put in a box, you get a little bit sensitive. But when you look at this, look, like top right are businesses that are at a scale much larger businesses than we are. And so you simply don't get to that box because of the bar. Our growth is fantastic this past year. As I said, I'm kind of alluding to what we'll announce in the
or is it, do they pay more to be in that box than you never mind. Gartner's no way they're paid to play. Let's take strike that.
Never. And so, as I said, we're thrilled with our placement, super excited about what the future holds. We have, COVID has given our business some immense tailwinds. And as I said, we really, really like our positioning in terms of an innovator and what we're building for the future.
We do too. So I love it. Awesome. So that's who you guys are and what you do. Now we're just going to kind of freeform and have some fun, right? Talk about I mean, it's kind of almost like picking up where the banter we were talking about before it actually started, kind of picking up back there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Jeff's going to go through just a quick high-level demo, just showing off a couple things that are unique to us. And then I think we'll dive in. And, you know, I hate speaking to people the whole time. So if you guys have questions, feel free to chat.
I'll take care of that. You and I will. Don't worry.
Nice.
Great, guys. Well, let me just take you through a quick little run through of Dialpad Talk for those who haven't seen it. On the left hand side of the screen here is my Dialpad client. Now we're agnostic across platforms. So whether you have a Mac, whether you have Windows, whether you want to run something in a Chrome browser or run it on a Chromebook as a Chrome web app, it's the exact same experience. On the right hand side here, I'm just running my Dialpad mobile client on my iPhone, just so you can see kind of the seamless entities across both. What you really should take, we're very much forefront in user experience, and we don't add any application or any features to our application without really looking at how it's going to impact our user experience. We have a lot of former YouTubers that build, or people that built YouTube, that are building our client. So it's very much a client that's very easy to use, something you'd see just on a day-to-day basis, like a consumer product, but really built for the enterprise. So this is basically a soft phone. And if I were to sit here and tell you my soft phone is better than your soft phone, well, my soft phone is better than your soft phone. But there's a lot of things we do in the soft phone that make it better. And it's really around the integrations and really what Dan was alluding to with Talk IQ and the stuff we brought into the Dialpad application around artificial intelligence, what we call voice intelligence. So really just looking at the client itself, we've got, obviously there's buttons here. You can very easily make phone calls from there. You can add anybody you want. It's going to look up across your enterprise as well as either your G Suite or O365 contacts, any personal contacts you have. So that's going to be kind of readily available to there. We can also do messaging, and that's both internal messaging as well as SMS and MMS messaging. And all of that can be logged and tracked within your CRM, whether that be Salesforce or anything else where you want to do any type of tracking of those calls. So that's a really important part. You can also just send faxes, have virtual fax. So this really becomes your user base for all your communications internally within your company. A couple other things, obviously all your voicemails get recorded, get streamed to you live here, where you've got a visualization of all those voicemails. And what's really nice is even on the mobile app, if I click the voicemail, you get the same type of interface there on the voicemail as well. So it's really nice to use. Like I said, contacts are very integrated. So even as an example, if I wanted to add a contact, this contact, once I add, we're so integrated with G Suite and O365 that once I add a contact here, it automatically will put it in my contacts in G Suite and O365 going forward. So that's really nice. Now, before I have Mike call, so Mike, that's your cue to kind of get ready. Just to point out a couple things, because Matt did allude to our contact center platform. It's been around for a couple years, but we've really started to double down and invest in contact center. You will notice here that contact center is a part of our application. So there's not a separate application that my contact centers agents use or my business users use. It's all the same application. And because we're natively built in the cloud, without downloading something separate, all this is only here because I'm a member of a call center queue. If I wasn't a part of any queues, this just wouldn't be here. They wouldn't see anything that said call centers. Department-wise, the same thing. There wouldn't be anything that you'd see there if I wasn't a member of kind of a multi-line ring group. So important to point those out, that it's the same application across. And you'll even notice things across the mobile application where I have full control of my call center and all those type of things right from the mobile application, what queues I'm logged into and so forth. So really, really nice functionality there. Mike, if you want to go ahead and call me, we'll show off some of the VI features. Great. So when you'll see when Mike pops in here and makes a call to me, we'll get a little pop-up on the screen. You'll see it ringing across all my devices, and I'll even bring this one over. I've got a pop-up here as well. I'm going to go ahead and answer Mike, and if you could go on mute, that would be fabulous.
And Jeff, I know you said it earlier, but you're distinguishing your client. You got both clients going at the same time.
Totally.
So you got the web version, WebRTC, no plugins, no extensions, native to the browser, and you've got a thick client, maybe a little more feature rich, not quite sure, probably feature parity, but you're trying to show both of them off right here.
Yeah, so it is feature parity across all of it. So you would have this experience right here that we're seeing right here with Mike on this call would be the exact same even if I was running this in a browser tab. It would be the exact same if I ran it on a Chromebook or I ran it on Windows. What I'm showing on the right hand side, this is just my iPhone that I'm showing here. So I just want you to see the parity across the application and how I can see live calls across both, and I can switch between devices as necessary.
I love it. So you guys have abandoned an actual FIP client, which is great. And you're all
yeah, we do have a thick client. So like this is actually running. It does run WebRTC, but it is in a thick downloadable client that you can see here in the bottom. But it will run in a browser exactly the same over Chrome.
Yeah, this is obviously Dan. I run it only in the browser. I'm one of those people that literally refuses to download software.
Yeah, no, I love it. You guys are way ahead of the game. Chromebook support and
yep.
What browsers? I mean, Tell me all the browsers.
So obviously Google Chrome, but even the new Microsoft is built on Chromium, so you can do anything that really will support WebRTC. And look, I said Microsoft, and look what happened. I already stole my own thunder where a real-time assist popped up because I said the word Microsoft. We'll get to that, but yeah. So the idea of, Firefox, all these, anything that really can support WebRTC will function. Things like IE are not modern browsers, so those do not. And Edge had a whole issue with, they built their own version of WebRTC, ORTC. So obviously that's not supportable, but their new browsers are.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome. So before I get to the VI stuff, just a couple basic things on Dialpad. You should experience, this is a basic soft phone, so all the functionality, whether you want to record the call, you can, as you'll notice at the top, I'm being recorded by the admin already, but if I wanted to personally make recordings of the call, mute, if I want to transfer these things, I don't need to know extensions. I can just type in a name. It's going to pull up all the contacts. I can have easy ways to transfer this. And one of the other things I should also point out is we're not a software only solution. If you have a customer or our customer that needs desk phones, we fully support the Polycom VVX line, the old VVX, as well as the new X50 line of VVX phones as well. So that goes as part of it.
Amongst others, right?
Amongst others.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely work in an open SIP environment. And a couple other things here before I get into the VI stuff. Our integrations are just wonderful. I mean, you'll notice a native integration in here to G Suite, which I'm using internally, where I can see calendar events between me and Mike. I can see emails. I can see documents that we share. So that's really nice. That's the exact same functionality in O365 as well. Native integrations into Salesforce. So I can log notes against Salesforce contacts right from within the Dialpad app. Same goes for Zendesk. Now, both in O365 and Zendesk, one other thing to point out is we have CTI integrations with those. So typically salespeople that work in Salesforce don't want to leave and don't want a thick client. They can run this right out of Salesforce Lightning in the browser and do all the functionality, log all the calls, log the call summaries, all that. The same goes for Zendesk. Support agents typically don't want a separate client running, so they can answer the calls right with it from within the Zendesk webpage and auto-create tickets, log calls, all that from within. So really, really tight integrations, as well as ServiceNow and HubSpot. To say a few, for ones we don't have, we have a super robust API developers page that people can write their own APIs and integrations into custom CRMs and call routing and things like that that's readily available. So now that you already saw a real-time assist, I'll just focus a little bit on the VI. So you'll notice this little VI button. Also, you'll notice snippets. So, and under Mike's name here, you'll see that I've got VI enabled. I could disable this at any time. It'll stop transcription, it'll stop recording, it'll stop all that stuff. Snippets kind of just takes a snippet of where you are on the call, kind of 10 seconds back, 30 seconds forward, or 20 seconds forward, and puts you in adds that information to you. But really where the rubber meets the road and where you can start seeing the visualization of this is how I can use this as a call center agent. So you'll notice that the transcription is really good. Now, as a call center agent, I'm not going to sit here and watch the transcription live, but think about what your supervisors can see, what the call center supervisors can see what's going on a call, can see the sentiment of, is the call positive, is the call negative, and look at the transcript before they try to go listen in, barge in, take over the call. So this is all done in real time. You'll also notice, you remember when we did get a real-time assist, but if Mike or myself was to mention pricing or how much does Dialpad cost, I'll get a pop-up that'll tell me that. I'm not touching anything. I've got my hands free here. But I did get a pop-up right there in Dialpad that's telling me how do I answer this person's question. I even got a hyperlink to a page that I can go to, whether that be an internal website, website, whether that be a sales website, whatever it may be, I can gather that information. And all of this can be built by the supervisors, by the administrator. You don't need somebody doing pro services to implement all this stuff. It's super easy to do from an administrator perspective, and type in kind of what those keywords are going to be and what you want to pop on. Cool. Now, when I end this call, and I really didn't get to the mobile, but just to really talking on that, I've got full control on the mobile device as well. And you see, I can switch the device. I can also, you know, do all the same stuff that I was doing earlier right from the mobile device. And really, the cool thing that shows is I can even if I want to answer the call on my mobile phone, this is being actively transcribed. I don't have to take notes because I can go back to the call and look what everything that happened on that call after the fact, even if I answered that on my cell phone. The summary is going to be
log in and log out as an agent?
Absolutely can. Yep.
Very cool.
Right from the mobile phone.
Tough. Everybody has trouble with that. Boy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can be home. You can be working from home. Maybe your internet's down. You know, there's so much going on, but maybe your LTE is still working. You can still make and receive those calls. Log in, log out as an agent. Get call center calls sent to you. All that, and it's still all being transcribed and summaries.
True fixed converged mobile wireless, where it's doing voice over Wi-Fi, voice over LTE. It's not doing, or can it do this? Here's the question. Can I do a Psdn connection with a 10-digit phone number and avoid the data network and use the traditional Cdma, Tdma 10-digit phone network?
Yeah, so it does. If you're in carrier mode, it does use that type of network. So it is using your minutes in your carrier.
So you can switch it in case things are bad. You're driving down Highway 5.
Totally.
A little light goes in and out. You can switch the PSTN 10-digit number and it connects it.
Correct. And the caller will not even know. It's about a 1-second blip, and it's really goes back to the way Dialpad's architected, because the way we bring people and devices in and out of calls. If I click switch to this device, if I click that, it'll move Mike, and let's just do it. It's, you know, always fun in a demo to go a little rogue. But I just moved Mike to the mobile device. You'll see that the mobile device is there, and I've also got the ability to see him locally, that I can still see this call. It's no longer on my desktop. Now, if I'm done there, I get back to my car, or get back into the office, I can just come right back here, switch the device. It'll pull that call right off my mobile phone and right back to my desk. So,
and I know, you know, the most basic question, I'm throwing a softball to you, but there's no VPN, there's no third-party connections. You just simply literally launch either one of these clients and magic happens.
Magic happens. And just depending how you're set up, you can even say like, hey, I don't want to use Wi-Fi ever. I always want to use carrier. You can set up your mobile client to do that as well. And then when we do the implementation too, when the administrator, the implementation of this is so easy, the administrator doesn't even need to do much other than add you as a client. You get sent an email, and they're keyed up to download the client, download their mobile, utilize it that way. So
if I start swearing and using cuss words, will the sentiment change?
Yes, it will.
We will test it. I'll take
it. Totally will.
Golly gee willikers.
Yes, and it'll, you know, and the summary will push some of that stuff as well. We won't actually put those words. We'll put expletive and things like that.
Yeah. Cool.
So that, now what I wanted you to notice is a summary got built. So let's just take this VI thing to another level, and think about it from a post-call perspective, where let me drag it over here.
Well, the only bummer about this all is like you charge so much extra to add this into every profile.
Totally. No,
That's
I know it was. I know it was, and we don't. Thank you for
all included. This is beautiful. Everybody nickels and dime. First of all, no one else really has this. There's one that has it, but it's like $100 an agent. this is included for your every single agent in the base profile, whether they're contact center or regular, they get this.
Yeah, and even talk. So even in the basic PBX functionality, you get this part of it, which is the call summary after the call, the full transcript of everything that happened, and all the moments and stuff. You don't get the real-time assist from a talk because that's something that goes with being an agent or a seller. But I've got the full everything that happened on this call. I'll try to make it a little bigger for you guys, but everything that happened on this call, so I can see it's totally searchable. So I can say, like I see Google in there. So let me just, if I type Google, it's going to pull up all the places in the transcript that said Google. And if I click on that or click on any of this, it'll take me right to it was in the section. If I want to say, oh, implementation I brought up, so bring me to that. It'll bring me to the actual place where that happened. You'll notice the recording jumped right to the place. It took me right to where the transcript was in that. I can even come in here and say, you know, at Mike Kane, and I can tell him to listen to this, and it'll send him a note in Dialpad. It'll send him a note in Dialpad, as well as give him access to this summary to listen to that type of information, to go in here and see what was being said. Maybe I want to build it from a coaching perspective and say, you know what, this is a really good demonstration of a call for my sales team. I'm going to add this to the new hire playlist, right? And bingo, I just added this call. They can go in and jump into the new hire playlist and listen to that information as well and watch what happened.
Super cool. And there's more.
There is more. There is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's there's definitely some pretty nice stuff here. So let me just minimize this a little bit here.
Well, I do say we should probably start getting into our discussion topic. We have about 20 minutes left, and I know you've got to. Do you want to wrap it up with something?
No, I mean I think it's important. I think if I had to wrap, I mean it's from an implementation perspective, one of our big benefits is how we utilize Dialpad and what we have, how easy it is to deploy. Everything's all in the same place, whether that be administering my system, administering across multiple offices, enabling voice intelligence, things like that, all is done within this platform here. And then all the analytics that goes across the entire company is all available here, searchable, and able to use throughout the platform to look at call lists, to look at any type of information you would want to see from your calls. Any type of voice intelligence or artificial intelligence is all going to be propagated for your administrators, for your supervisors to use.
Oh, you're on mute, Matt.
I love it. Let's transition into our roundtable here. I think, we wanted to talk about how I hate using the word COVID-19 and all the different things because everybody's doing it, but it's the new normal, this shelter in place, work from home, more remote, less interaction in person. How's this changed the market, right? I've got my ideas and I'll let Dan and Mike, if you guys want to start with yours, and I'll tie mine right into yours if you don't mind. So I'll let you guys start.
Yeah, I think the first trend is, and I don't think any of these are necessarily like rocket science to go and say, but should give some direction of, what are trends that are playing out and investments that we'll make. One is like, look, if you didn't believe in the power of the cloud previously, you sure as heck probably believe in the power of the cloud now, whether it's being able to instantly deploy, whether it's being able to go and provision users. As I said, everybody in America and around the world woke up and their world was drastically changed.
If you didn't have a digital transformation plan before, now you definitely have one.
Yep. And so I think we've seen that acceleration. I think people are video first buyers probably arguably today too, which is, if you looked at probably some of the trends of how often I turned on video a year ago when I did webinars or when I did peer-to-peer calls, probably not that often. And now it's odd if you join a call and somebody has their video off. And so, part of our strategy around the High Five acquisition is, look, Video is going to be at the forefront, both on the UCaaS side and also the CCaaS side. So we're going to bring and unify that experience, and people should be able to elevate a call from voice to video, whether it's peer-to-peer video to multi-party video. So you'll see a more unified experience, and that's something that you can, Jeff was talking about when we're highlighting, look, our contact center is baked into the same UI as our UCaaS system. And so we'll have a unification of this platform and the ability to elevate calls from voice to video and back and forth and across devices. And I think those are some of the biggest trends. And the last one is,
go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
The last one I would say gets into some of the voice intelligence, which is, it's our belief that, look, you want to have a system that not just allows you to make voice and video calls, but helps you understand what's happening within those conversations, that voice is this last offline data set. We don't believe in charging anything extra for it, and we think there's immense value in helping people have workflows that impact a call, right? Here's a suggested answer to a question, to also being able to say, hey, what's happening within the context of my conversations or my business? And I think that's just a bigger trend that, here at Dialpad, we have to figure out how to onboard people remotely. Being able to do quality assurance or call coaching, these are features that we use in-house to help us actually go and do that. And again, it's not something that we charge anything extra for.
I think, you glossed over the very first one. It's just cloud as a market dynamic. And you guys are born there, and you are cloud. So you guys kind of just go, yeah, cloud. Then we go into all the other stuff that makes you special. And I'll take a step back and say, Packet Fusion, believe it or not, and everybody's amazed at this, we sell these cloud products, we still have 750 customers on premise-based gear. Yeah, it's insane, right? And over the last 6 months or 4 months since, mid-February, March, when the shelter-in-place thing happened, we've had to take people's premise-based gear, private cloudize it, and allow, thousands of people to work from home. These things were not made to support thousands of people working at home, right? We can get several hundred. So we literally stressed out the infrastructure that we had purchased and put in for them, which is the ShoreTel, Mitel Connect. And we got it working incredibly well for 90% of our customers. 10% of them, listen, you've maxed this thing out, you're stressing it out. And so we were able to talk to them, find out their needs, and bring them to people like Dialpad, amongst others, and get them to just cloud. And once you get them to cloud, you get to now have these conversations that Dan's talking about, all these different things. Because all the things that Dan's talking about, it's really, really hard to do in a premise-based phone system. So half the guys on our call here still have a premise-based phone system that we support, and we're actively helping them get to the cloud. And you got to get to the cloud to talk about all the stuff that Dan's talking about.
Yeah. To your point, as I said, is we natively, and for myself, like I generally am like, hey, if you're not in the cloud, it's crazy to me to not be in the cloud.
Right.
So there is still that migration and transformation that you have to get people comfortable with. And I think, look, you're in this perfect moment in time to say, hey, you have to have a strategy around this. And I think there's just an incredible amount of innovation that can happen once you make that initial step.
I mean, the next question, and I'm going to start with it, and then I'm going to pass it back to you, is examples of how Dialpad has helped customers through COVID-19. So I'll start with a mutual customer that, I've had on ShoreTel, Mitel for 10 years now, and the shelter-in-place thing happened, and they had to have 4,000 people work at home. Well, guess what? Our system got crushed. And we got through it as best as we could, and we're still limping along, getting to where we need to be, and they're still working at home. But Dialpad came in and saved the day and gave them temporary licenses for 3,000 or 3,500 people, literally over the weekend. It was an amazing feat. Everybody's in good graces, and we hope they now take the bait and take the offering and go 100% to Dialpad, because literally that what they want to go do and how they want to perform business going forward, let alone just work at home, all the open APIs and web services and stuff like that can't be done on the platform they're on today. So you guys stepped up an amazing product, an amazing, just a sheer will to get that done. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a million of those.
Yeah, as I said, where do we help people out? Twitter and Splunk, we're and I kind of pick on maybe perhaps some more recognizable brands. So bear with me on that.
And they happen to be two of our former customers from ShoreTel, Mitel, Prem.
Great. And as I said, it's one of those things that these are businesses that literally overnight were using on-premise systems and said, hey, we can't, that system is going to break for us in today's world. And we also wanted to think about the world differently in terms of what does a communications or collaboration software look like in the future? And they bought into this vision of voice intelligence, which is, look, your phone system and your contact center of the future should have a passive voice assistant baked into it. And it should also function a little bit like your email does, which is the ability to go and search your conversations if you want to have them recorded and searchable. I should be able to share them, and I should be able to start to quantify the data that's happening in that, because I can start to make better decisions. Or perhaps we have this conversation and I forget the questions that you asked me, Matt, and I can go back and actually revert back to them and be informed next time we talk.
I'm gonna call you, okay, pull it up right now. I'm gonna have you pull it up. I'm gonna call you out on that. What was the questions I asked at the very beginning? Jeff's the one recording this, I get it.
Yeah, but those are things, you know, when we get into these conversations, they're very different. And the nice part is obviously we save people money and we save people time. And that also in today's environment with COVID is also something that comes up, right? People are looking to save costs and move faster.
Great. You know, a couple questions are coming in, a couple pick off some really easy ones. Jeff, I think you're seeing these too. Does the product support multi-factor MFA, multi-factor authentication for login? If so, is Duo supported?
I'd have to check on Duo, but we do support it. We do support that, yes. Multi-factor authentication, two-party.
And then easy one too. What continued training is provided to your customers, supervisors, administrators, and how is it accessed?
Yeah, so we do, I'll tackle that, Jeff, sorry to step in on you. So everybody gets a customer success manager assigned to them. So something that we really pride ourselves in is that we don't charge for support. So as I said, we do have professional services package.
You charge, it just happens to be included in the monthly price.
Sure, however you.
It's not free.
But what's important for us, look, is, and I think this is something that stands out. Again, I hate going back to like our user ratings, but it's better for people to go and read what other people say about you as opposed to me saying like, here's my biased view of the world if I were so great. I think what stands out, and people probably get a read of like our culture just in the conversation they're having with us, is we really want people to enjoy their experience with Dialpad. So we assign them a customer success manager. That is a team that is there to provide the highest level of service, to build a relationship with them, to help them solve their problems, to help them troubleshoot issues that come up, and really be a partner. And our goal is to look, we would love to win your UCaaS business, and we would love to help you solve your video and your contact center needs. So we really want to be the provider across your communication and collaboration needs.
And Packet Fusion is supported. It supports you guys as well, and we're certified and authorized to install and maintain the systems as well. So absolutely. Just like you guys do for your Mitel ShoreTel support for half you guys, we could continue on and help augment the services that Dialpad offers, and you just have another layer of support with Packet Fusion for your new cloud offering.
Absolutely.
Jeff, super easy one. We already talked about it. Maybe you can hit it again. What third-party phones are supported with your system?
So, we natively support the Polycom VVX line, some of the older Polycoms as well. We can support audio codes phones. We can support the OB-High phones. We can support, I'm drawing a blank.
OB-High now Poly though?
Yeah, but the older OB-Highs too, as well as the newer, the Polycom OB-Highs, right? As well as Yelinks. Yeah, we started with the OB-Highs and then went to Polycom, and then Polycom bought OB-High. So.
Right, exactly.
So audio codes as well, Yelinks, things like that.
Yeah, so we got a couple more, 10 more minutes. Everybody's still on, so I appreciate that. Keep, actually, they're adding on more and more as we go. And please, more questions. Let's get this interactive. How does work from anywhere in the future look like, and how is Dialpad positioned? I think we just nailed that. If you want to continue on, like, keep going. But give me some more, Dan. What else do you say?
Well, yeah. I think the pieces is look like at some point we do get back in the offices. So something I will highlight is having in-room. So we will be providing in-room hardware to help support that. So as we think about, look, what are the future of webinars look like? What are the future of in-person meetings that I think look like the Brady Bunch view that the grid view that we have, however we want to frame it, is going to become pretty archaic in the future. And I think these systems, those are all things and innovations that we think about. How can we make a webinar function in a more seamless way? Or how can we make an in-person meeting and leverage technology to have more?
Are you going to partner with the Poly, the Dolby for that hardware? You're not making your own.
We are today. Our strategy is to partner.
Yeah.
So High Five has those partnerships in place with Dolby, and then I don't think we will. Hardware is hard for a reason. That's a
Don't do it. It's crazy. You get a negative valuation if you actually make hardware, and if you make only software, you get a better valuation. So don't make hardware. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. You've been
But
super thoughtful on our strategic decisions, so we will listen to that one again.
Yeah, the collaboration portion of this is what everybody's talking about. And if you're talking about collaboration, you have to have a room experience that is integrated and tight. And just based on your track record of how you integrate things in and make next generation products, you guys are going to nail it. And, you know, it's going to be a really cool thing. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, we're excited about it too. And as you said, to your point, like we move really, really quickly at making sure when we do these acquisitions that we leverage the technology and the best experience possible and make that happen as quickly as possible. So we'll be excited about what we can offer in the next year in a really seamless, beautiful experience.
Super cool. And, you know, I think we've talked about the whole time, how is Dialpad different from the competition? I mean, my favorite is, you know, you talked about it. You guys started after the iPhone in 2007. Nobody else has. Maybe there's one more. But they're not as relevant as you guys. So you guys have this literally this open framework that allows you to integrate things in so much better. You started on GCP. Everybody else now wants to be on the hyperscalers, the AWS and the GCP. Yeah. They're just getting there. You guys started there. Quite frankly, you guys are actually going to do what the next trend is the multi-public cloud. You're actually going to do some stuff in AWS and some stuff, what you may already be doing, AWS and GCP, allowing this multi-cloud world. And that's just next generation stuff. So I'd love to, maybe you can keep going on the differentiation from the competition.
Yeah, I think like to your point of what you just highlighted, and I go back to kind of berating the point of the voice intelligence, which is, look, your voice is this last offline data set. That we know what happens in email communications. A lot of information is saved to a CRM. That your phone system and your contact center of the future, you should be able to have workflows that help you, that do things for you, automate note taking, and then you should be able to go back and understand the trends that are happening within your business, and that shouldn't be a separate piece of software. And so we're big believers in speech analytics and voice analytics being native and real time and not charging anything extra for it. And we think there's immense utility that can provide to businesses.
And I love that you guys own 100%. And part of Gartner, to be in the Magic Quadrant, you actually have to own 100% of your offering. You can't OEM, you can't license, you have to actually own it. So a couple of those guys are having difficulty staying in the Magic Quadrant because they do all these partnerships, and there are these two massive companies that have this PowerPoint presentation integration. And so you guys buy, integrate, own, you own source code. It's a great thing. So that's a huge differentiator in my book.
Yeah, when we speak to investors, we kind of frame ourselves most like Apple in terms of just the way they architect their business. If they own the whole stack.
Yes.
We own our entire stack, from our telephony network to the speech recognition to the UI. And so
if you're like app, go ahead, keep going.
I was going to say that gives you an ability to just do things differently. It allows you to move faster. It allows you to have efficiencies that other people can't replicate because they, as you said, they're piecemealing other pieces together. And so we view it as a massive differentiator, and it's something that won't change.
Well, if you're going to be like Apple, you should create a marketplace and take 40% of everybody else's revenue.
Turns out it's a pretty good business.
Here's good. This is a pretty easy one. This would handily replace ShoreTel on-prem communicator and enterprise contact center, right? I'll take that. The answer is yes, with the caveat that the enterprise contact center does some old school contact center features that are very, old school and robust. And Dialpad has chosen to not do some of the older stuff, and they're kind of transforming the way the contact center is viewed. So my first answer, Todd, is absolutely we can do it, with the caveat that let's understand exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and make sure we can help you replicate it. But we don't want to replicate, right? We want to transform the way you're doing business. And if that makes you do things a little bit different than the way you're doing it today, so be it. Some people say, no way, you got to mirror what I'm doing. So it's kind of a yes, no question, but absolutely can't wait to call you and explore that. All right, I think the last one, we got 4 minutes left. How is Dialpad supporting multinational deployments during this remote time? I would say quite well. My initial experience with Dialpad 5-6 years ago, our first deal we did was with a multi-site, multinational company headquartered here. And we did implementations in like Korea, Australia, Japan, and Europe. This is before anybody else was doing international. So you guys have been doing international, in my mind, a lot longer than pretty much anybody else. And you guys have definitely added to that list of homologated countries. And I'll let you jump from there.
Yeah, so we can provide support to users globally around the world. You know, some things that I would highlight, we've got 12 data centers, and we take our approach to telephony a little bit different. So I'll take just a moment to talk about, we've built this in what's called a split cloud architecture, which is we put all of the routing, all of the smarts up in GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. And then we use traditional data centers to handle all of the media. So there's 12 of those data centers that provide support in a telephony network around the world. And then we've been doing international for years. You know, some of our largest deployments are in 112 offices around the world. And so, as I said, businesses like Syngenta and Motorola Systems. And so we're thrilled. And it's something that I think we excel at and are excited to continue to help businesses as they think about growing and expanding their presence.
And a simple differentiator, we might even end on this one, is, you know, everybody can do international. Oh yeah, I can put my phone in Japan to home to a data center in Texas. So when I call across the street in Japan, I got to come back to Texas and then back over there to call across the street. It's a disaster. The round trip latency just kills it. Dialpad has these distributed architecture where the phones actually register locally for the call media path you talked about. The actual call control of it's all spread out in GCP as well, distributed. So they'll go to the local POP as closest one as possible for call control and call path. Pretty cool.
Yep, fantastic.
Not many others are doing that.
That's why you've been so helpful to us, Matt. As I said, you nailed it. I should have passed the question to you to answer.
No, yeah, exactly. I gotta let you guys talk. I talk too much. I'm sorry. All right, I think that's all the questions we had. Do you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah, Mike, I'll pass to you. I've been chiming in a lot, but I just want to thank you for, you know, the support and partnership, and just excited about, as I said, you know, our acquisition of High5. We're really excited about some of the innovation that's coming on the video front and in-room support. And then got a couple more fantastic announcements here a little bit later in fall. And, you know, I'm here because I really think Dialpad is one of the best platforms. And I'm really excited about our innovation and differentiation. And it's a really interesting market to be in right now, and we feel very fortunate to be in the position that we are.
Yeah, we appreciate the time again today, Matt. As always, you're a great partner to Dialpad, great insights, and again, I think this discussion today was you know, really reflective of the perspective that you bring. And there was one question we didn't address. Wanted to make sure we addressed it before we wrapped. There's a question on our integration with Teams. This is a use direct route. We are working with Microsoft right now. We're in a POC with them to get out the finalized Teams integration. So stay tuned. You'll hear from Packet Fusion once we have it.
I missed that one. Was that in the chat or was that on the QA?
In the chat, yeah.
Okay, got it, cool. And I'll say, listen guys, we're here to help Packet Fusion. We're cloud consultants. We know the industry. As much as I know about Dialpad, I know about all the other players in the industry. Let us get involved. Let us understand your needs. Let us help you get to the right place. More than a lot, it's a lot of times Dialpad, but sometimes it's not. It's other players. We understand landscape. Let us help you run our process. So with that, I'll end it. Dialpad, love you guys. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you guys soon. Nice work.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, everyone.